Ontario Premier Doug Ford held a last-minute news conference earlier this hour to announce that the Hydro One CEO and board are out, fulfilling a campaign promise of the PCs. Joining me now from Queen's Park in Toronto with the latest is the CBC's Mike Crawley. Hey, Mike, thanks for being with us. Explain this announcement to us.
Well, it's all been happening pretty fast. We got short notice of a news conference from Premier Doug Ford. In fact, it's the first time he's spoken to the media in an actual news conference since he was sworn in as Premier. It's the first news conference we've had from him in 3 weeks. Then word started to emerge that this was about Hydro One. Now, during the election campaign, you'll recall that one of his most often repeated promises at pretty much every campaign event was that he would fire what he called the $6 million man. That's the CEO of Hydro One, Mayo Schmidt, who earned $6 million in salary and benefits last year for Hydro One, which is the electricity transmission company here in Ontario. So Ford said that this would be something he would do on day one as Premier. Didn't quite happen that way. Or what are we now, day 11, I think? So he's managed to do this in a different sort of way. So what's happened is the board of directors are all going to be gone. They are resigning. Schmidt himself is retiring effective today. And then there's going to be a whole new board appointed. They will find a new CEO. And the government, because the government owns not quite 50% of of Hydro One, they will actually get to appoint 4 of the 10 directors. Vashi?
So that's the latest news, Mike. But today's business at the legislature was also choosing the speaker, and then the real work will begin Monday. What items are on the immediate agenda?
All right, so Ford government said that there are 3 key things that they want to try to accomplish here in the legislature. So that's, they want to legislate an end to the strike at York University. They want to cancel a wind power project in Prince Edward County that got approved during the election campaign. And they also want to repeal the cap and trade legislation. That's going to be a really interesting one to watch because they've already signaled that they're ending cap and trade, so they're ending Ontario's participation in the cap and trade carbon market. We know that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he's going to impose a carbon tax, but then there's the whole issue of carbon emissions, the actual target. If they repeal that the cap and trade legislation, Ontario's commitment to reduce carbon emissions are actually embedded right in that legislation. So that's what we're going to be watching for, is are they going to actually step away from Ontario's commitments under the Paris Climate Change Agreement?
And we just have a few seconds left, Mike, but what are you looking for in the big speech from the throne tomorrow?
Yeah, I want to see what they talk about that's different from what they talked about in during the election campaign. In fact, which of the election campaign promises that they talked about are not mentioned in the speech from the throne, because you know it lends a lot more heft to things when you put it in the speech from the throne rather than just say it on the campaign trail. I'm also going to be looking at the tone. Here, we've had them talking about this being Ontario's first government for the people. Are they going to talk about that in the speech from the throne? Because it'd be interesting hearing that from the Lieutenant Governor's lips. Vashi?
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. Mike Crawley from Queen's Park in Toronto.